Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me this afternoon is the president of All Comfort Services. It's Kendall Richards. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. I love the commercials, love the yellow trucks, love it, love it. You guys have a good branding out there, and I'm glad to have you on the show here today. And
Teresa, our marketing person, she does an awesome job, so she's the one who does it.
kudos to the marketing department. But what we're here to talk about today is it's been the time of year. We're in the heating phase of good old winter, and you're here to help us kind of navigate through heating, repairs, heating, you name it. We're going to talk about it here today. And so I want to kick things off with what can we do to make our heating equipment run more efficiently as we are now into the heating season.
Probably the most important part is to have a clean filter, and that's something that the homeowner can do themselves. I would say, somewhere in the 5 to 10% of urgent calls that we get are a result of a dirty filter. So it's a question that we'll ask, over the phone to make sure that they've checked that. But yeah, that's probably number one. The easiest one is to clean that filter.
Amazing. It's as simple as that. All right, well, we're done here. Let's call it a day. It's all about those filters. Well, yeah, here's a good bonus question for you. Why are the filters always, why do we have these thick filters? We have these small filters. I never understood that.
So the filters, they can either protect your equipment, they can protect your house, or they can protect the people in the house. And we try to sell filters to protect the people in the house. And the thicker the filter is, it's pleated. It allows to get the particulates out of the air most efficiently without reducing the airflow. And that's what you don't want. That's what a dirty filter does. That's why it causes a problem, is it gets dirty and it reduces the airflow and causes problems with your furnace.
Oh, there you go. I think, too, when we're talking about heating equipment now and we're seeing a lot of automatic pieces, when it comes to adjusting that temperature, the good old temperature question, we're going to get it from the expert now here. Tune in now. We see now that, again, you can adjust from your you can adjust from your phones, you can do all that stuff. But what's your recommendation when it comes to the level of heating? And we've got all those great pre-programmed things in there, but
so there's a lot of different opinions, but you asked me mine, so I'll give you.
I'm going with the expert here.
So what I would say is do what makes you comfortable. I think the savings for dropping a setback is what we're talking about. Hey, at night I'm going to set it back, 6 degrees. So that setback, by the time you bring the house back up to temperature, the savings are nominal. But if you enjoy it being cold upstairs and sleeping, then by all means set it back. The only comment that I would want to put out there is when it's really cold, when it's 0, -5, -10, do not use a setback because you're putting yourself in unnecessary jeopardy. It may take a little bit longer for it to recover, so you're not as comfortable in the morning, or if it went down, it's at a lower temperature, to begin with. So when it's really, really cold, I wouldn't use a setback, other than I would do it just for your own comfort.
I love that. answer. That's a perfect answer. Perfect. All right, so how about this? This is a good one here. We're going to leave town. What should the homeowner do for peace of mind?
So I guess a couple things, leaving town for the weekend, for a week, or for the winter. So I'll kind of cover all those. For the weekend, and I'll do it 2 things: temperature and water, both. If you are a very concerned person, then you can take one thing off the plate by shutting off your water. Just simply shutting off your water. You don't have to do anything else. You have to know where the shutoff is. Go downstairs where the main comes in and shut it after the meter. After the meter, closer to your house from the meter, and you can just shut it off. And all that does is, if there is a problem, whether it's winter or summer, your washing machine hose pops off. That's the most common. That it limits your damage. You're still going to have water that goes in the house when you shut off, but it's just going to limit your damage to less water, because there's only so much water there in the pipes. I don't do that, but when I go away for a week or a longer vacation, I will shut off the water. And then my parents, they winter down in Arizona, and so they left. My mom is 88, my dad's 91. And so after they left, I went over to their house, and I shut off the water, and I kind of drained opened up some sinks and drained the water that was in the pipes. I think, generally speaking, when I did that, I called our master plumber and I asked him a few questions. If you're looking to winterize or to shut off for the winter, probably talking with your favorite plumber makes some sense.
Yeah, keeps it a little bit easier. And then temperature-wise in the house for those long pieces, because you can't let it be totally cold because you still got all the pipes and the,
Right. So that's a great question. And the reason kind of why I brought my mom and dad. So after they left, my mom calls me up and she goes, I left the temperature at 50 degrees. Can you lower the temperature? She went at lower than 50 degrees. So I said, Mom, I'll take care of it. And I went to her house and I raised it to 60 degrees.
Oh.
So I raised it. And she asked me a couple times, what'd you do, Kendall? And I avoided the question and she saw right through me, but she knows. So keeping the temperature at 60 degrees, one, protects your home a little bit more. It keeps a little bit more moisture in your home so things don't dry out as much as it gets colder. It also, for your equipment, that cold air when it comes in and hits, when it does turn on, and it hits the heat exchanger, the thing that keeps the furnace running and heating, it causes damage to your furnace. So most major manufacturers say do not run below 60 degrees. Or it will do damage to your heat exchanger. So I turned my parents up to 60, and I avoided the question as much as possible.
Well, that's good to know that the 60-degree threshold is, going to be but best case scenario is give a call to a company like yours and find out, hey, you know what would you recommend, especially if you're getting it serviced regularly by your, whoever is doing that, certainly you could ask that question and
absolutely
makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So, what about what can we do to improve the air quality in our home? So we've kind of locked up everything for the winter time and we got things going. I mean, obviously got that filter, but what are we thinking for air quality?
Okay, so there's two big controls that you have in air quality: humidity and air filtration. So having a quality humidifier, if your house is dry, and you mentioned about tightening up houses. Well, over the last 15 years, we've really tightened up houses, new construction, and even people that have retroed, they've gone in and sealed things up. And when it's so dry in the house, and it's a health concern. It's a comfort concern, and it's a concern to your property and the house. All three of those things. When the air is the proper humidity, you'll feel more comfortable at a lower temperature. So let's just say it's 70 degrees. I'll feel just as comfortable at a properly humidified house as I would at a 74 degrees dry house. So it actually kind of saves you money in the long run. But most importantly, better that humidity allows you to have the mucus that you need to stay healthy. And I know that's the M word.
It sounds the
yeah,
right.
But
sounds,
really, that humidity keeps
yeah.
you healthy. So it's really important if you need it. Now, if your house, there's moisture on your windows when you don't have a humidifier, don't worry about spending money on a humidifier. There's already enough moisture on in your house during the winter if you've got moisture on your windows.
Oh, interesting. I like that concept. I've got a furnace that has a humidifier attached with it. Is that something that is an easy add-on or something that it comes regular now? I guess I don't really know.
So thank you for that question. I will tell you that it is an easy add-on. The filtration is a little bit different. It's in the middle of the system. Humidifier is on the outside. So you can always add a humidifier if you'd like. But the one, I encourage you, if you need a humidifier, to put one on. But I will tell you, if you have a humidifier and you're using it, you haven't turned it off, make sure you service it. Because there's water that's going into that, and if the panel is dirty, some people call it a filter, but there's a water panel that sticks in the humidifier. If that's dirty or the hose is blocked up, that water will back up. We always recommend it being on the return drop. So if it backs up, it just ruins a filter. Sometimes we see it on the supply above a furnace, and with all the electronics in a furnace, and you add some water, it's a real problem. So if you do have a humidifier, make sure you get it serviced or service it yourself. I mean, either one.
Yep, I am one of those lucky customers who had it back up completely and fry out. So yeah, and we didn't even know it existed. Didn't know on the house. So it was a lovely. We thought the whole furnace was done, but it turned out to just be this piece there. So great information. Certainly, I wish we had more time to spend talking, but we're gonna get you back on here hopefully in the future and keeping us up on keeping our house good in the comfort zone.
That sounds great. I live right here in Fitchburg, so I'd be more than willing to join you.
Fantastic. There you go. Kendall Richards from All Comfort Services. Thank you so much. Have a good holiday and stay warm.
Thank you. You too.
All right. We'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.